Folks, it's me. It's me, Denny Carter from NBC Sports. You can find me on various microblogging websites at cdcarter13, including X/Twitter, including Threads, which, by the way, has kind of a thriving football community now. I came back to Threads over the past week or so, and man, the folks are talking. They're talking some football, and I'm talking with them. So check me out there. And thank you for joining me once again for this fantasy football Q&A. You have the Q's, I have the A's, and I'm ready to give them to you. I did want to mention that some of you, many of you, including me, by the way, I'm in this boat, may have run into what we in the industry call a buzzsaw on Thursday night. It was the rare Thursday night game in which yards are gained and points are scored. Excuse me. And by the way, yes, I am wearing the sweater. The folks always asking for the sweater. The sweater's on. The sweater's on. My smoking jacket is on. It's weird because I don't smoke, but I'm still wearing it. You wanted it all fall, and now it's December, and I can wear my old sweater. And you can call me Grandpa or Mr. Rogers or whatever other names you want to use. But anyway, yeah, so you may have run into a buzzsaw on Thursday night. DK Metcalf goes off. Geno Smith, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard to a lesser extent. Things of that nature. Even Zach Charbonnet had 20-plus PPR points. That's tough. That's tough to overcome. I'm playing against DK Metcalf in 2 leagues, and folks, that stung. That stung a lot. I had to face DK Metcalf on the day when the regression finally hit. And you got to respect DK Metcalf for having all of his regression happen at once. Usually it's sort of a trickle effect, right? You get a touchdown here and a touchdown there. And then, oh, hey, he has 3 or 4 straight games with a touchdown, with 1 touchdown. But no. That didn't happen with DK Metcalf. He went from never, ever scoring a touchdown, despite seeing a lot of end zone targets, despite seeing a lot of green zone inside the 10 targets. No touchdowns then. He scores 3 on Thursday night. So that hurt. So what I would tell you is, and my buddy and colleague, NBC colleague Lawrence Jackson, said this online today, is that you gotta kind of swing for the fences if you are headed into the weekend down 30, 40, 50 plus points. And Yahoo or whatever platform you're playing on is telling you that you're a 10%, you have a 10% chance to win. Okay, that you're a massive underdog. You're Rocky facing the Russian, folks, and the Russian just dumped 75 PPR points on your head. And I'm telling you to swing for the fences. And so we'll work through that today, okay, over the next 50 plus minutes, okay? Where tell me, the guy you want to play, and then tell me other options that might have more upside, because that's what we're going for. It's controversial, but I will tell you that the goal of fantasy football is to score the maximum number of points. This is how I approach the game. I like points. I want to score them. I'm going to try to help you out in the maximization of the pointage. Again, industry term. I don't expect you to know. All right, let's get to your questions. You can find my regression files on NBCSports.com. You can also find my funnel defense report on NBC Sports. And the funnel defense report has, I'm obviously I'm going to talk about my own work, but it really has helped me think through lineup decisions for redraft and also for DFS plays. It's really helped me over the past month or so, kind of hone in on good matchups, on teams, facing defenses that like practically invite a pass heavy game script, or vice versa, invite a run heavy script. And so the funnel defense report has helped me with that. I encourage you folks to check it out. Let's get to your questions. Is the Cowboys defense droppable? Upcoming schedule is tough. Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, Lions. I mean, that's the thing with defenses, right? I mean, just the nature of a fantasy defense is super, like full of variance, right? And so 1 week, the Cowboys are giving you 25 fantasy points. The next week, they're a complete disaster. I mean, that's the way it goes. I don't know if they're droppable, but that is a tough, that's tough action. I mean, the Bills are a pretty good matchup for them. Lions should be a good matchup. I wouldn't say just drop them. All right, another question from Dan, the man. Garrett Wilson or Deontay Johnson? I'd go with Garrett Wilson. Should have double-digit targets. Can't say the same. In the funnel report, I wrote up the Steelers against Arizona, and I mean, there's every reason to believe that the Steelers are going to run it 120 times against the Cardinals this week. And that's great for Najee Harris. It's great for, obviously, Jaylen Warren. It's less great for a guy like Deontay Johnson and Pat Freiermuth, by the way. And, of course, always George Pickens. So I'd go with Wilson. And then you said I added Pickett as a bye week fill-in. Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, yeah, you could still play Pickett. Boring running back. Hello? Denny. Need to bench one in PPR. Oh, you sat Charbonnet? Come on, me. Come on. He's a boring running back. Need to sit one in PPR. I guess you'd sit Brian Robinson. Although the decision might be made for you because Travis Etienne might be out with a chest injury. Which, by the way, folks, if you're thirsty at running back, swoop in and get Dearness Johnson off of waivers. Dearness Johnson is the clear number 2 back in Jacksonville. It is not Tank Bigsby, who has been just super terrible in his rookie season. Dearness Johnson, very efficient runner. You may remember him from such games as every game in Cleveland, where he saw more than 10 touches and became fantasy relevant. So make sure to get him. He would be the starter if Etienne is out. Hello from Archangel Michael. Okay. All right. Cool. Hello. Kicker question. I love a kicker question. The folks know this. Please make sure that you get your kicker questions in. Matt Gay or Nick Folk. I mean, the kicker process says we want kickers whose teams are favored. So in this case, it would be Matt Gay. Matt Gay has multiple field goal attempts, I believe, in 4 of his past 5 games, as the Colts have generated plenty of neutral game scripts. So I would go with Matt Gay. Hello to Ian Taylor. Ian T. Taylor the 4th, as he's known in the streets. Golf against the Saints. Oof. That is tough. I will say the Saints are an extreme run funnel defense of late. So I could see the Lions basically being like, we're not doing this thing, Jared. Like, you got to just hand it off. We're done. We're done with this little experiment where we expect you to do good things. So that makes me a little nervous. I think I would go Jordan Love. I think I would go Jordan Love. Yeah. Kicker question. What Viz? I'm confused about that. All right. We're moving on. What is your strategy? Yeah. Strategy is you want to find a kicker who will be in position to kick throughout the game. And I know that sounds funny. It's not funny. Stop laughing. It's not funny. So a guy like Chris Boswell, right, for the Steelers. Steelers are pretty heavy favorites at home against a really bad Cardinals defense. There's really no reason to think that the Steelers will be chasing points against the Cardinals this week. And by chasing points, I mean like foregoing second half field goal opportunities to go for touchdowns. So therefore, Chris Boswell is a good process play. That's the sort of thing. Matt Gay is a good play. McLaughlin. Wait, is that his name? No, not McLaughlin. The Jaguars kicker. Oh, man. I forget. Is that Jaguars kicker? I completely forgot. McPherson. Nope, not McPherson. Jeez. McManus? Is it McManus? It's McManus. Woo, boy. McManus is a good play as well. All right. David Cook. Sweater time. PPR at running back. Gibbs or White at the flex. Gibbs or White. I mean, Rashad White has a dream matchup against Carolina. Panthers rush defense is just heinous. But I'm starting Gibbs over him. It's a shame you can't start both. At flex, Demario Douglas Godwin is probably not going to play. He's a game time call, but he's missed practice the last 2 days. So with the neck injury, and the neck injury flared up. He had the neck injury like a month and a half ago. It's flared up in practice, so I wouldn't plan on him. So you might have your answer already locked in there. Michelle, hello to Michelle. Hello to Michelle S. The 9th. Half PPR need 2. I love the all caps. Michelle, love it. Cooper, Deontay Johnson, McLaurin, Ford. Yeah. Okay. All right. I got the answer. You need 2. So you're going McLaurin and Ford. And the reason you're going Ford over Cooper is because Joe Q Flacco is starting for the Browns, most likely, with DTR having suffered a brain injury and not practicing this week. And last time we saw Joe Flacco with the Jets last year, we saw Joe Flacco target his running backs on 25% of his throws, which is quite high, quite a high little rate. He is the king of checkdowns, the king of dump offs, whatever you want to call them. So the primary beneficiaries for Cleveland are going to be Jerome Ford, who's running more routes than Kareem Hunt. Also, Hunt is banged up, so watch that situation. And David Njoku. I said on the Rotoworld football show on Thursday, Njoku, honestly, it would be like the upset of the year if Njoku doesn't see a dozen targets this week for the Browns. I mean, I would be stunned. Okay, so you got to get Njoku in there, especially in like scammy, like what is it called, the tight end premium, which is just honestly, we need a constitutional amendment against tight end premium. This is what Congress should work on. I'm begging Congress to look into this more strongly than they have. But Jerome Ford should also see a lot of looks in the passing game. McLaurin was in my regression files as a positive regression guy. Washington should be forced to throw all day against Miami. Hail. Justin says, hail. Should I roll with Jake Elliott? Yeah, sure. I mean, that's fine. The Eagles are, these are not your grandfather's Eagles. And by grandfathers, I mean, these are not your Eagles from the 2022 season where they never kicked field goals. They're okay with field goals for some reason this year. It doesn't make me mad at all. I'm not upset about that. Please do not tell the newspaper I am mad. And so Jake Elliott has benefited from that. That field goal that he made in the rain, in the cold last week, I guess to tie the game, to send it into overtime against Buffalo, that was a wow kick. I mean, I just assumed that it's just like he couldn't get it there. That's like a like in golf. The golfers will appreciate this. That's like a 3-iron that you have to play in like the middle or even the back of your stance, right? And you just gotta smash down on that thing and get that thing, like, just sting it, right? Like an old Tiger Woods stinger. And he did that. And he did that. And that thing just started low as possible. It continued to rise, but not too much into the wind. A beautiful kick. Beautiful kick. I love a stinger, folks. I love a stinger. Here's something stupid I used to do when I was I was junior golf team, this and that. And we all wanted to be Tiger. Okay. This is the early 2000s. Everybody just wanted to do what Tiger did, which is horrible, which was terrible for our golf game. Okay. Because none of us could do anything that he did. But we tried like hell to do it. And one of those things was hitting, long iron stingers off the tee. It was just stupid. Like, there's no reason to do that at all. But it made us feel cool because Tiger looks so cool doing it. And we wanted to be like Tiger. So I used to hit that shot. And it made no sense because I used to hit the shot when like the wind was at my back. Like, you hit that shot into the wind. Like, Tiger made that shot for the British Open because the gusting wind. There's no reason to hit it with it. So people would be like, why are you hitting that shot? The wind's at your back, you moron. Like, well, I look pretty cool doing it, if I don't say so. All right. Let's get on with the questions. I was looking for football. Okay. Well, good morning from the West Coast. Good morning to the West Coast. Jared Goff or Carr. So I would go with Carr if Olave plays. Otherwise, go with Goff. And then Juwan Johnson should see plenty of action this week because of all the injuries. Rashid Shaheed, Michael Thomas, maybe Chris Olave. That means that like Kamara, Juwan Johnson, and maybe a guy like Lynn Bowden, okay, the hybrid running back receiver type guy. All those guys could see increased, target volume against the pass funnel Lions. So I would go with Juwan Johnson over Gerald Everett. Nope, not that one again. Stroud or Purdy. That's a tough one because, excuse me, because I really like the shootout potential of the Niners Eagles game. You're talking about the two most extreme pass funnel defenses in the NFL, in the 49ers and the Eagles. Like these teams, they shut down the run. Basically nobody tries to run the ball against either of these teams. It doesn't necessarily mean bad things for CMC. He can still get there other ways. He has many avenues to fantasy success. That's my hot take for today. So therefore, Purdy should be in a really good spot. I do think Stroud is probably the safer play, maybe. Although the Denver secondary has been better. This is a tough one. You know what? If I had these two guys on my team, I'll just tell you what I would do. I would play Purdy. I actually think that, yes, we're back to point maximization. I think Purdy has the upside here. All right. Hope that helped. Michelle's back. Half PPR. I need 2. Oh, I think I answered that. All right. I'd go with Pickett. Should I risk it with Achane or should I roll Mixon or Higgins on? No, you got to go Achane. You gotta abandon all hope for your Bengals. That's simply not happening. All right, let's get on to some more here. Picked up Dearness Johnson. If ETN doesn't play, if ETN plays, what running back would you prefer? Gibson, Spears, Algier, and Algier's in a good spot. Read my funnel defense report, please. Dearness Johnson, if ETN is out, AJ Dillon or Damien. Oh yeah, no, I mean, I think Dearness Johnson would be a top 12 running back option for this week if Travis Etienne is out. Folks, let me know if you hear about any like breaking news because it's hard for me to monitor the news situation right now. So if you hear anything, just throw it in the chat, and that'll be helpful. Full PPR, Vinny Rubio. Typing in all caps. Start 2, Bijan. And that's how they're pronouncing it, folks. Bijan Robinson. Dell, Downs, Devontae Smith. Hail. Full PPR start 2. Yeah, it's definitely Robinson. And oh man, it's Robinson. I'm struggling between Dell and Smith. I guess Tank Dell. I guess Tank Dell would be the play, but you got to start Robinson. Thielen or Singletary. Thank you. That's a good one. The Broncos' rush defense is quite bad, and by quite bad I mean terrible. Okay, I do think I think the Texans are not trying to be like as balanced as possible. We've seen them sort of air it out in recent weeks. I think they're getting away from that because they seem, they trust CJ Stroud, and for good reason. Stroud has played out of his mind, especially over the past month. So I'm not expecting them to like establish it against the Broncos, but Singletary is the RB1 by a good margin over Dameon Pierce, and it is a good matchup. So I think Singletary is the play. I can't really trust anyone in this down horrific Carolina offense. All right. So sorry. Graphic content. The Gremlin Brotherhood wants me to pick between Royce Freeman, Dameon Pierce, DJ Chark, and Greg Dortch. Woof, man. Wow. I hope this is like a 16-teamer, man. Yeah, I mean, it's Dortch. Michael Wilson is out. Marquise Brown is trending toward playing, but Marquise Brown did not practice at all this week. That's bad. I could see Hollywood Brown sitting out against the Steelers. I mean, in that case, Greg Dortch is like a must play. And yes, you're going to say, oh, well, you're Dortch pilled. This doesn't count. You're Dortch pilled. Yeah, I am Dortch pilled. I've been radicalized for 2 years now on Greg Dortch. But Greg Dortch is going to see 10 targets. I'm telling you right now, Dortch is going to see 10 targets. None of those other guys are going to see that sort of opportunity. So just think about it. Vinny Rubio's back. Would you start Mostert, Achane, or Breece Hall? Breece, don't call me Bryce Hall. Start Mostert. What's Olave's chances of playing? I don't have my Magic 8 Ball with me. My kid's playroom is about 10 steps away. I could go get it for you if you want. The bank is outside. Yeah, right. This is a running joke on the Rotoworld football show where my co-host Pat Doherty will joke about the bank coming to his home when it makes a lot of sense when one of his best ball guys is underperforming. I do think that Olave still has a pretty good chance to play. Vinny Rubio is back. He's back, folks. Better than ever. I go with Deontay, Tank or Swift. All right, I'm assuming Tank Dell or Swift. I would go with Tank Dell. Have Detroit looking to drop. I would, yes, go with the Rams. Go with the Rams defense. Good matchup this week against Cleveland. Robe Sisson. Yes, Patrick. This one's for you, man. This one's for you. Taysom or Juwan or Trey McBride. So I actually, look, I'm Dortch pilled. I'm Taysom pilled. I'm taking all the pills. I'm a healthy guy, is what I would say about that. And I struggle to see how I can sit Taysom in a situation like this. Now, yes, Juwan Johnson's a good play, especially for like PPR purposes. Okay. Because of all the injuries. But I really do think like a string of injuries to skill players in the New Orleans offense means more Taysom, means the Taysom offensive package will grow tremendously this week. Okay, to frightening proportions. So yes, I think you got to play Taysom. This is like a must play scenario. Are there any good new Christmas movies? Yeah. Good? No, probably not. Probably not. Since all new movies, except for the ones made by NBC Universal, are bad. And by the way, my favorite Christmas movie is Scrooged, 1989 Scrooged with Bill Murray. I encourage the folks to go check that out. Really, really excellent little movie. All right. Judy or Dortch with Michael Wilson. Dortch. I'm sorry, man. Dortch. All right. David Cook's back. Half PPR at the flex. I would go with Douglas. Go with Douglas there. Drop 1, bench 1, start 1. Oof. Drop 1. Ah, man. Huh. I guess I'd start Taysom. Like I said, Taysom pilled. We're gonna get Taysom pilled together, folks. You stick with me long enough. You got to drop 1. I guess drop Muth. I guess that's tough. That's tough. I don't want to drop McBride. Not with the Ertz. If you haven't heard, Zach Ertz is no longer with the Cardinals. So, we're all in on McBride. So yeah, I guess I would drop Muth. That's weird to say, but give Kelsey, James Cook, and Pittman and receive AJ Brown, Derrick Henry. Give Kelsey, James Cook, and Pittman. No, don't do that. Because Derrick Henry is like touchdown dependent running back too. Like if it was like, old Derrick Henry, maybe, but no. Also don't give up Travis Kelce. It's just don't do that. You'll break the heart of every Taylor Swift fan, All right. Gremlin Brotherhood's back. I'm 9-3, so it's okay. And yes, he says it's still disgusting. Happy Friday. Yes. Happy Friday to the folks. Excuse me while I have some coffee. I have a Christmas mug here with my wife's face on it. I don't know. It's kind of washed out, but there she is. In half PPR, need help choosing a running back and a flex. Yeah, I would start. Oh man, I'd start Warren for sure. Gosh, and Achane. Yeah, Warren and Achane. Benched. That's tough. Benched Nico. Beat the waiver wire by adding which defense? Saints. Add the Saints. That's a good folks. If you're listening, if you have a bench spot to throw the Saints on, that's a good upcoming schedule. An excellent, some would say, upcoming schedule. Carolina, the DeVito-led Giants, and the Rams. By that point, maybe something else shakes loose on the waiver wire, and you can pick up someone else. But Saints are a good play there. Good pickup. Nakua or Javonte Davis? Well, I would go Puka. Go with Puka. Devin Singletary, Breece Hall, or David Montgomery. I'd still go with Montgomery. I said earlier, the Saints over the past 3 weeks are the most extreme run funnel in the entire league by far. On the season, they're top 5 run funnel. So I think Montgomery, again, unless game script sort of goes sideways, which it did, on Thanksgiving, and that it didn't tank Montgomery by any means. I think he was still like a mid to low RB2 in week 12, but against the Packers. But if game script stays steady, Montgomery's going to get his for sure. But again, Singletary, really good play. If Olave plays, you're still playing Juwan Johnson. No good new Christmas movies. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you too. My dad's favorite Christmas movie was Scrooge. Yeah, man. Such a good movie. It's like peak Bill Murray. Okay. I'm obviously alienating every Zoomer in the chat, but peak Bill Murray. Local roast. My coffee is local. What does that even mean? I don't even know what. No, it's not local roast. It's whatever I buy at the grocery store, man. I'm not. I told you I'm not a coffee guy. I don't use brain power to determine what coffee I drink. I just drink what's there. All right. Pick one for my flex. Pick one for my flex: Jerome Ford, Curtis Samuel. Man, that's tough. Curtis Samuel's in a good spot too. Wow. Look. If it's PPR, I actually would go with Samuel. If it's half PPR standard, I would go with Jerome Ford. Okay. Let's keep going. All right. So you want to know Devontae Smith or... okay. Yeah, go with Devontae Smith. I'm not angry about my coffee. I don't know, like, local roast. I just don't know about that stuff. Spirited. Okay. Spirited. Well, that's a Christmas movie, apparently. So we'll look into that very strongly. All right, folks. This is the part of the show where I share some stats with you. We have about 25 minutes left in this Q&A. Thanks again for joining me. I'm Denny Carter. You can find me on X at CD Carter, CD Carter 13. You can also find me on Threads at CD Carter 13, posting more and more there. So yards before contact per attempt given up by defenses is a really good indicator of teams that are giving up explosive runs. And right now, the top 5 teams in that category, like the top 5 worst teams in yards before contact per rush attempt, are the Bengals at number 1, Broncos at 2, Giants at 3, Cardinals at 4, and Rams at 5. It's part of the reason why I think both Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren should be able to get there for fantasy purposes this week pretty easily. And I think both of them have tremendous ceilings as well. And then, it's why I'm bullish on Devin Singletary. I know Dameon Pierce is mixing in. I know Singletary only had one more rushing attempt than Pierce last week. But Singletary saw 80% of the 80+%, I believe, of the snaps in week 12. So he is the RB1. Again, just an almost mouth-watering matchup against the Broncos. So while we're sharing stats, we will continue to do that with. Well, I don't have it up, but I'm gonna find it. I'll answer some questions while that's loading. All right. Does the kicker process say it's Jover for Dustin Hopkins? Yeah. No, you can't start Hopkins this week. No. For sure, 100%. Get Boswell, start him over Hopkins. I mean, if you have any questions about your kicker situation, Chris Boswell is a great alternative for week 13. Explosive runs is what they used to call it. Practice. That's too much coffee, probably, honestly. All right. Let's see if the data has loaded. Yes. All right. I'm going to tell you about teams giving up lots of targets to pass catchers from the slot. Okay. So you have, first of all, the Eagles at number 2, and that should be really good for Deebo Samuel, and to a slightly lesser extent, George Kittle. Don't be afraid to start Kittle this week. I know it's like just completely boomer bust. Like, you're getting like 25 fantasy points, or you're getting like 2 from Kittle. I think we're on the 25 point side of that maddening equation for week 13. Bengals giving up a ton of slot targets, third most. Should be good for Christian Kirk. But I don't know. The Ridley has sort of taken over. Christian Kirk is third on the team in both target share and air yard share over the past 2 weeks. That's not a great indicator. But the matchup on paper is good. The games aren't played on paper. They keep telling me that. They keep telling Denny it's not played on paper. It's not played on spreadsheets. It's not played on the computer. Football is not played on any of those places. Where football is played is played on the field. This is what I'm told. I've never watched a game, though. Maybe I will one day. We have the Texans giving up the 5th most slot routes or slot targets. I guess that could be good for Jerry Jeudy, but please don't take that as an endorsement. And then, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it here. Bucks giving up the 10th most targets to slot receivers, so that could be good. I don't even know. Oh yeah, right. I guess it could be good for Thielen. Hey, who knows? Who knows, man? Well, there we go. Thielen or Singletary in the flex. I think. Oh, I appreciate that, Rushman. I would still lean Singletary. Yeah, I'd lean Singletary. Need good vibes for my DFS team. My kids' Christmas. Oh, I'm sending you the vibes that are good. All right, folks. Any more questions? Any more questions? I know. Look, the season can be a grind. Okay, it's week 13. The optimism of September has faded fully into the background, and it's tough action out there. Okay, lots of people have given up on their teams. Okay, as a fantasy football writer, I see a lot less engagement this time of year. It's true. I'm letting you in on a secret, but I do think that folks sort of give up on decent teams too early. All you need to do, this is my pep talk to you. All you need to do is make the playoffs. That's it. That's it. You don't need to get the number 1 seed. Like, just sneak into the playoffs. Win, baby, win. You win the next 2 weeks, you're in. That sort of thing. Things of that nature. So go ahead. Come on. Let's get some upside guys in your lineup. Okay, so if McBride plays and Marquise Brown is out, I would go with McBride. Okay. If Marquise Brown is in, I lean Laporta. All right. Watson, Hopkins, and Lundy. Sorry, London. Lead me to victory. Yeah, I'll try. Well, are you asking me to pick one? Okay, if you're asking me to pick one, I would go with Christian Watson. I actually wrote him up in the regression files. 50% of the air yards last week against Detroit. That's tremendous. If that's sort of, that's the sort of receiving profile we need for a wide receiver 3 like Watson to magically and suddenly turn into a wide receiver 1. So I do think Watson would be the play here. I mean, Hopkins probably has a better floor if that's what you're looking for, and that's fine. If you're a floor guy, floor person, you go ahead with Hopkins. But I mean, look, the Titans aren't passing the ball, and they're not going to do that this week against the Colts. I think they're gonna. It's crazy to see because it's like, you see, Hopkins only got 6 targets, but he only ran, he ran 18 routes, and Will Levis dropped back 21 times. So it's actually an enormous share of the Titans' targets and air yards and everything, but it doesn't amount to much. It's like Drake London in the Atlanta offense. I do think that the Packers will be forced to take to the air this week against Kansas City. Start 1. Atlanta Browns or KC. Atlanta Browns or KC. Atlanta's a good play. I would start the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are the play. Matt Stafford this week. Probably not. I feel like you could probably do better. I'd rather play a guy like Gardner Minshew, if that helps. All right. We have Cris Sales, friend of the stream. Cris says non PPR. Who would you flex between Taysom Hill, Aaron Jones, and Greg Dortch? Folks, you know what I'm gonna say. Come on. I'm going Taysom. And how do you feel about Achane this week? I don't really have like a really great take on Achane because he could literally see like 6 touches in this game against Washington. And with those 6 touches, he could go for 100 yards and a touchdown. He's that kind of player. So hopefully his knee is not an issue. Hopefully. But I would struggle. I'd really struggle to bench him against the Commanders. Commanders defense is so horrendous, as you know, as anyone knows who watched them on Thanksgiving, because that was quite the display. I live in the Washington area, and I watched that game with some lifelong diehard Washington fans, and that was rough. That was a rough watch. I'll be honest. It was tough to see friends and family enter the fourth quarter with a glimmer of hope. Look, the Commanders were only down 10 points at the beginning of the fourth. That's it. And they lost by 100. What a debacle for our Commanders. But hey, they're passing a lot, and that's all that matters. Anyway, what was I getting to? Yes, Achane. Lastly, Rams or Chargers. Chargers playing the Patriots. They're a good play. I would lean Rams. Perhaps I am being too polite. Perhaps I should berate the people here. It's him, Bryce Young, or Breece Hall. I don't. In my OP offensive player position, I'm struggling with this question, my guy. Okay. So you're saying Matt Stafford or Bryce Young or Breece Hall? I would go. Yeah, I mean you're going Stafford there. Yeah. All right, folks. Damon says start one in PPR. Puka, Cup, Montgomery, or Rice. Montgomery. That's tough. Wow. Good. You have a good roster, Damon. Yeah, okay. So the thing about Rashee Rice is that I hate this is nerd stuff. Okay, but here's what I wrote about Rashee Rice in the regression files, which you can find on NBCSports.com. So Rice only ran 66% of the pass routes in Week 12 against the Raiders. Of course, he had 8 catches for 107 yards and a touchdown on the strength of a hefty 42% targets per route run. Not to dismiss Rice's superb 29% targets per route run on the season, but 42% is quite a leap, one that likely won't carry over no matter which Kansas City receiver misses time going forward. So that's the issue. He's still only running 2/3 of the routes, and I would think that when the Chiefs get a little healthier in the receiver room, we could see that route rate fall back toward 50%, and that's tough. It's tough to consistently produce with that sort of playing time and with that sort of usage. Now on Instagram, I wrote up Rashee Rice as a negative regression candidate like a month ago. Okay. And on Instagram, NBC posted a little graphic saying, with my words, what I wrote about Rashee Rice. And the thing is, I was right. Stop booing. I'm right. I was right. But then he blew up against the Raiders. So I was right for 3 weeks. Then he blows up against the Raiders. And now everyone is liking that post now. And I feel like it's insulting. I feel like they're liking it ironically or to tell me what a dummy I was on Rashee Rice. And I wasn't a dummy. I was correct, which is tough. Tough to convince a bunch of people that you were right after the guy you wrote about negatively has a big game. Such is the life. It's hard being a Commanders fan this year, Chris Sales says. And then having them play on Thanksgiving. Yeah, I know. Actually, so I think the Commanders play on they played on Thanksgiving. They play on Christmas Eve. They play on, I believe, New Year's Eve. And, like my brother-in-law was like, oh, great. Like I get 3 holidays ruined for me because I have to watch my stupid Commanders on Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. The thing is, though, and I told him this, you don't have to watch. You don't have to. There's no mandate from the government that you have to sit down and you watch your Commanders lose by 17 to some horrible team, you can not do that. It's just an idea. It's one idea that I've had is not doing that. I'll be watching, but I'm a soulless fantasy football player. I don't care about any teams. I don't care about whether they win or lose. I don't care about results on the field. And by the way, that's where they play football. They play football on the field. They don't play it on the spreadsheet. They don't play it on paper. They don't play it anywhere else. They don't play it in your head. They don't play it theoretically in any way. They don't play it on the internet. You know where they play it? They play it on the field. All right. Do a few more here. Pick 2 full PPR. Henry Mostert. These are a lot of names, brother. Whew. Okay, well, you starting Montgomery, and then Mostert. Oh wait, you have Moss in there. Shoot. I actually would go with Moss over Mostert. So Moss and Monty is Hal start. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, Sam Howell. Look, I do think that Sam Howell is a guy you can build around. I don't think you can compete for a championship with Sam Howell, but small steps, baby steps for this Washington franchise that's been bad for most of the past 3 decades. I think they do have a viable quarterback in Sam Howell, and he will be starting. I mean, they seem to be kind of in love with him. So, yeah, he's going to be around for a while. All right. Tim Boyle wasn't completely incompetent. He had 9 fantasy points. I guess that's what you're saying. Not an easy matchup against the Dolphins. Could he actually be a decent or even a good against the Falcons defense? Listen, I cannot and I will not endorse Tim Boyle as a fantasy option this week. I just can't. I mean, there's a better chance of Tim Boyle being benched in this game for Will Grier or whoever the backup is now. Maybe Zach Wilson. There's a better chance of that happening than him scoring 15 fantasy points. That's what I would say. As a Giants fan, I command you to watch every second of Washington football. Oh, how down bad are the Giants, man? I mean, if the Giants were to do the right thing, they would bail on Daniel Jones. I know they just signed him, and it was such a huge catastrophic error to sign Daniel Jones to a very rich contract extension last offseason. They didn't have to do that. Just because Daniel Jones had a handful of good games in December and January doesn't mean that you have to sign him. You could have looked at his whole resume and said, wow, overall, this is quite terrible. I don't really care that you won 1 playoff game against just a horrific Vikings defense. By the way, interesting piece on ESPN today about the current Vikings defense, basically using schemes and doing things that no defense in the NFL has ever done. It's an interesting piece. It's on ESPN. So yeah, I mean the Giants need to cut ties. They won't cut ties, but it basically, I do believe that the contract extension for Daniel Jones has pretty much tanked Brian Daboll's chances of being the long-term coach in New York. He just doesn't have a chance. And I like Daboll. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's a forward-thinking guy for the most part. I really liked him and the way he operated last year. Very aggressive decision maker. Okay, he seems to be with it. He seems to acknowledge the analytics, and I like that. But having Daniel Jones wrapped around your neck as a two-ton anchor, I don't see how he gets out of this, and that's unfortunate for everybody, really. All right, let's do a few more. We have a few more minutes here. On the King of Kickers, it's true. I was crowned the King of Kickers in 2012, and I have beat back the masses. I have kept the crown. Would you drop Boswell for someone considering it's supposed to be pretty messy in Pitt? Not really. Wind is the main thing. If it's supposed to be like gusting 20 plus 25 mile an hour plus winds in Pittsburgh, then yeah, you might want to cut ties with Boswell and go with someone else in a more stable condition. Okay. But don't freak out because it's going to be muddy or whatever. Like that precipitation doesn't really matter. It's all about wind. So just keep an eye on that. All right, here come the questions. Drop two. So you have 4 quarterbacks. I don't know. I don't know these guys' playoff schedule off the top of my head. I mean, I guess. Yikes. Murray is the 4th option here, and I guess Lawrence is the 3rd. There you go. All right, Jacob, Road King. I'm Kicker King. I'm Road King. I'm all the various royalties. 10 person half PPR. Who do you like better rest of the season? Dallas Pickens, JSN, or Charbonnet? Well, I mean, Ken Walker should be back, so that kind of messes it up for Charbonnet. I would go with Josh Downs. I think Josh Downs is the best play there. All right, Chris Sales is back. I lost Joe Burrow. I have Garrett Wilson, the ghost of Aaron Jones. Me too, by the way. I have Aaron Jones on my 2 most important teams. And I actually have dismissed the idea. I may have said this on a previous stream, but I've dispatched with the idea that Aaron Jones is going to be a thing again this year. It's Jover. I will just accept it. I will accept that Aaron Jones is not going to be part of my fantasy life for now. So the ghost of Aaron Jones and Taylor Swift dependent Travis Kelce. Well, yeah, Garrett Wilson is still good though. Jake Elliott should be fine weekly. Good. We're looking for teams that produce a lot of positive and neutral game script. Who does that better than the Eagles? Our Eagles. All right, Kyler Murray. Dominique wants to know Kyler Murray or Goff. Kyler Murray's matchup is brutal this week. Whoa, man. I guess I'd still go Kyler. I actually do think I still have to go Kyler. All right. A few more questions. Down bad after playing with Dallas defense. And against that's what I'm talking about. I talked about at the beginning of the stream. Some of you ran into a buzzsaw. Let's get your rosters right. Should I play Dortch or London? Oh man. So all right. Here's my thing. Okay. So Michael Wilson is out with a shoulder injury. Marquise Brown has not practiced. If Marquise Brown is declared out against the Steelers, then I really, truly do think that Dortch is the better fantasy option over London this week. The Falcons are going to run it unlike anything we've ever seen this week against the Jets. The Jets are an extreme run funnel. And I believe I would guess that Arthur Smith and his coaching staff understand this and are ready to exploit this fully, right? So basically, if London is going to get there for fantasy, it's going to have to be on I don't know, 5 targets, something like that. It makes me nervous. If Marquise Brown plays, then I would lean London, but still it's it's very little room for error for Drake London in this matchup. Terrible matchup for him. Oh, this is tough. Would you drop Njoku for so I wouldn't. I like I said earlier, Joe Flacco checks down constantly. That should be great for Njoku. So I guess I would stick. If it's standard, okay, here's the thing. If it's standard scoring, I would actually lean Taysom. Okay. If I would encourage Millie to get Taysom pilled. If it's PPR or even half PPR, I guess, go with Njoku. Start Downs over Shee this week. I'd go with Downs. I assume this is about defenses. The Jags are in a really good spot against the Bengals. I got the Jags in a 14-team league. They were just sitting there on the waiver wire. And I was like, this is the best possible scenario. Jags put a lot of pressure on the passer. I believe Jake Browning will have a difficult day This is my prediction against the Jaguars. All right, let's answer a couple more questions. Yeah. Thanks, Lindorphins, for joining. As always, full PPR, pick 3. So Godwin probably won't play. He's a game time call. I don't think he'll play. So I do think you go with Rice, you go with Douglas, and you go with Pickens. I can't trust Flacco with I can't trust Cooper with Flacco. I just simply cannot. Jameer has an important question that I hope he shared. Oh, yeah, right. Oh, Jameer said Jags or Panthers. Yeah, no, it's Jags all day. Minshew for me over Baker. Kyler, look, Russell Wilson is getting away with it. We talked about this on the Rotoworld Football Show. I encourage you folks to check that out, to give that a listen. He's just getting away with it with these touchdowns. And if Russell Wilson doesn't throw multiple touchdowns, we're looking at like 7 fantasy points, something like that, something really horrific. Okay. So I know it is a good environment, Houston, Denver. It's a pretty good environment. I get all that. I still think Kyler's rushing gives him at least a much higher floor, I would say, than Russell. All right, folks. Last question here, and I'm going to log off. Colts defense or Rams defense? I got to go with the Rams. Rams are close to like a must play. I don't like Joe Flacco's chances this week. Another bold statement from your boy. All right. This is the last one. Dameon Pierce or Spears? I guess Dameon Pierce, but that is a tough one. All right, folks. I'm Denny Carter. Thank you for joining the Week 13 Fantasy Football Q&A. You can find me online at cdcarter13. You can find all my work on NBCSports.com. I will see you in Week 14. I might even wear another sweater. You never know. But